All right, if you guys could put away Chromebooks, we'll begin.
Now looking for groups that are moving quickly and quietly.
So for today's lesson, we're going to be continuing to talk about food chains and the flow of matter. So you guys recognize this, we did this on Tuesday. We're just going to skim through a couple of the vocab, and then we're going to move on to the main lesson. So we're not going to go through like the asks and the turn-in talks. We're just going to kind of go through it quickly. So I'm going to call on a student to read the first slide. Just to reiterate, raise your hands, counter. Ecosystem.
An ecosystem is all the living things that interact with each other in their environment.
And then can you read the example for us?
A pond ecosystem includes fish, frogs, algae, and insects living together while interacting with water, sunlight, and natural nutrients in the pond.
And we already talked about different ecosystems yesterday. Olivia?
Matter is anything that takes up space and has weight. Can be in different forms such as solid, liquid, or gas. You are matter. Your dog is matter. Almost everything you see around you is matter.
Abby?
Matter flow is the movement of material within the ecosystem, such as through food chains and food webs. Plants take in nutrients from the soil, animals eat those plants, and decomposers break down dead organisms to return nutrients back to the soil.
Rock.
A food chain is how living things are connected through what they eat and what they are eaten by. Grass is eaten by a rabbit, and then the rabbit is eaten by the fox.
Skylar.
A consumer is a living thing that eats other living things. A snake consumes a frog. Also, a frog consumes a worm.
Yeah. And let me just quickly read the last two, because we didn't cover producer, but producer is an organism that creates its own food using an external energy source. And examples of producers like trees, grasses, shrubs, they all create their own food using sunlight. So now we're going to watch an introductory video.
It's Esther from the Mystery Science team. Last summer, I went to a picnic at the park. My friends laid down some blankets and we set out our favorite snacks. The sun was shining, the birds were singing, and pretty soon, the ants were everywhere. They crawled all over the picnic blankets in search of food. My friend groaned and said, "Don't you wish all the ants would just disappear?" She was joking, mostly, but it got me thinking. What would happen if all the ants at my local park really did just poof, disappear? Would it be a big deal? I mean, ants are teeny tiny. Maybe we wouldn't even notice if they were gone. Then again, there sure are a lot of them. I'm curious what you think. Would it be a big deal if all the ants in a park went away?
All right, I'd like you guys to discuss that real quick, turn and talk, and then I'll talk.
So like they wouldn't really feel like they have parents, like they would feel because I'm pretty sure that's all
like ants
some ants have died
All right, GB Lions. Raise your hand if you would like to share with the class. Michaela? Yeah, definitely. There'd be no food for them to eat. Lachlan, yes.
Yes, because no, it's not a big deal because like if they like we don't even really see them unless they get in like right close to our face, like near a food or something like that. It's also fine. It's not a big deal.
So you think just because they're small, they might not play that important of a role?
Yeah.
Unless, Connor?
I think yes, because they fertilize and helps our environment.
Interesting. Well, we're going to learn the answer to this by the end of the lesson. So we're going to watch one more short video. So start our
As I stood there thinking about a park without ants, I noticed a robin nearby. It kept poking its beak into the ground. Watching more closely, I realized it was eating something, and that something was ants. I guess at least one animal would miss the ants if they disappeared. To a robin, ants are food. I can show they're connected with an arrow like this. And to an ant, my picnic crumbs are food. And so are things like seeds from the grass in the park. The grass, and ants, and a robin are all connected by what they eat and by what eats them. Looking around the park, I realized other living things there are connected in this way too, like the squirrel eating acorns from an oak tree, or the butterfly drinking nectar from flowers. That's food for them. And those butterflies better watch out because they're food to a frog. When you talk about all the living things in a place and how they're connected to each other, you can call that an ecosystem. Food is one way that living things are connected in an ecosystem, like how the flowers are connected to the butterflies in this park, and the butterflies are connected to the frogs. Ecosystems also include the non-living parts of a place. So the rocks in the flower bed are part of the park ecosystem too, and so is the water in the frog's pond. The ecosystem in this park is just one of the many ecosystems in places all over the world, with all different kinds of plants and animals. And check out the word ecosystem. The eco part means the environment. And then there's this part, system. A system is a group of things that work together and affect each other. For instance, a system you're probably familiar with is a bike. It's got individual parts like handlebars, a seat, pedals, and wheels, and those parts work together when you ride. They're a system. If one part breaks or goes missing, like, whoa, no more wheels, then the system doesn't work the same way. An ecosystem is all the parts of an environment that work together and affect each other. If my local park suddenly had no flowers, it would affect the butterflies that depend on them for food. Like a bike, an ecosystem doesn't work the same way if a part goes missing. And an ecosystem can have many parts. You already saw that this ecosystem has flowers, butterflies, frogs, squirrels, oak trees, grass, robins, and of course, the ants. But my local park is also home to salamanders and spiders. It's where clover plants thrive. Earthworms live underground there, and raccoons come out at night. Even hawks visit this park, and coyotes too. Each of these living things is part of my local park's ecosystem. And since they're part of an ecosystem, they must be connected to each other in some way. We already found some connections, like grass, ants, and robins, and flowers, butterflies, and frogs. But what about all these other plants and animals? What are some ways they might be connected?
We're gonna find out by making food chains in our game called Eat or Be Eaten. So I'm gonna show you guys the rules and how to play, and then I'm gonna call up some of you that I introduced to the game on Tuesday, and we're gonna model it for the rest of the class. So you guys will stay in your groups. This game is 2 to 4 players. And you guys will get a deck of cards along with a food chain finale sheet that we'll talk in a little bit about adding up points. And you'll also have a paper that has the rules on it. So the goal of this game is to make as many cards as you can into food chains and make those food chains as long as you can. So you can have multiple food chains, plus you'll want to focus on making a food chain as long as you can. So first, we're going to shuffle the deck and pile the cards into the center face down. Then on the first round, players take turns picking a card from the pile and reading the card out loud. On each subsequent turn, so like the next turn, a player has a choice they can choose, and they can choose a card from the center pile, or they can steal a card from another person. They can use those cards to create a food chain, but it's important to note that once a card is linked in a food chain, it can't be stolen by someone else. You can't steal it if it's already in a food chain. The game continues until all the cards are used, or unless we're taking a long time, and I'll tell you guys to stop. And at the end of the game, there's actually a point system. So you guys are going to count up the number of food chains you have, and there's a point system, and we'll determine who wins in your group. So who would like to come up to model the game that helped me out on Tuesday? Ayana and Brantley. We're going to show it under the camera. So we start off by having the deck face down. We're going to shuffle it up a little bit just to make sure that it's really randomized. And then you guys can choose who starts the game. That's not a big deal. So I'll go first. So I'll pick up the card, and I'm going to read it out loud to the other people playing and show them as well. So I picked up grass. I have lots of leaves and lots of seeds. That's lunch for lots of critters. I'm just going to place that down in front of me, and Brantley can go ahead.
I eat dead leaves and rotting wood. Look for me through life. Look for me and I go into the den. That's why people call me.
And he'll put that down in front of him, and then Ayana's turn.
Earthworm. I eat bits of dead plants like dead leaves or rotted wood. Anywhere that leaves are fallen, I can find something from it.
Alright, so that is the end of the first round. Obviously, if with one card we can't start a food chain. So now we're moving on to round 2. We'll do the same thing. I got gophers, so I'll read the description. I tunnel underground and gnaw the roots of plants. Any plants, you can see the description. Any plants. Sometimes I leave my hole to eat leaves, looking out for animals that want to eat me. Now we can see, since we have 2 cards, we can see if we can make a food chain. So we're really going to look at the description of the gopher, for example. It eats roots of plants and any plants. I have grass as my first card, so that will actually work to start a food chain. And you want to go ahead, Brian?
A solid member. My country instance like beetles, ants, against agriculture, enjoys snails, spiders, and cobwebs. Want to join
And then I'm going to pretend Ayana went. So we all have 2 cards. This is special though. Now that we're starting the 3rd round, now you can begin to steal a card from someone else. So you'll look to see if any of your other players have a specific producer or consumer that will work in your deck to make a food chain. And you can either draw from the pile or you can steal a card from someone, as long as they don't have it in a food chain already. So if you guys could help me out to pass out a deck of cards to each group, cards, and then let's see. One of these per. Yep, 1 deck of cards per group.
Yeah, so we can partner since we have like a pile.
So does anyone have any questions?
I'll just put some on my desk.
Yes, we do. No, you'll stay with your group. You'll stay with your group. Okay. Remember, we're going to stay at a level 2 soft talking, so that because I'm going to come around and help you guys out if you need help. Yeah, thank you.
Cartoon mice eat seeds. Real mice eat lightning seeds. I also is actually humans food and agriculture. So this would start with leftovers.
Alright guys, it's time for round 10.
There's going to be somebody that needs that hard
Alright, jumping sweater. On the ground.
Even the
This might be true.
Wait,
Oh yeah, you have it.
I'll pick up audio. No, no, it's okay. Yeah, I think you're fine. Yes. So the arrows show the matter. So the nutrients. So this shows the part on the right eats the part on the
All right, is it going to go?
The description of the spider does not say that.
I'm gonna say we all. Wait a minute. I can't
Yeah. So it will tell you in the descriptions. Let's find out.
No, I can't. It doesn't go by food chain. And this doesn't go by food chain.
I'll let it pass. It mentions a lot of things. Yeah. GB Lions, does anyone have any questions so far? No, you guys all understand so far? All right, you guys can continue. Correct, yep, so part of the right needs to have the arrows show the nutrients or the matter.
Wait, does it work in your food chain? No, but if you steal it, you have to put it in your food chain. Steal. A card from another
Yeah, so yeah, you
can use that card right away to make
guys got the chain started. Yes, yes, you can. So, yeah, that's true. GB Lions, real quick, I forgot to mention that you can have multiple food chains started. Like yourself can have multiple food chains. Also, again, just to reiterate, if you steal a card, you have to use that card immediately in one of your food chains. You can't steal it and just like have it off to the side. All right. Continue.
There's a card right here.
I know, but I already have it.
My turn. I'm gonna steal it. Is it mine? Does it work?
Remember, one of your cards might not work at all, so you'll just have to kind of leave it separate.
Does it work for you? I'm gonna steal this.
Can you fit one?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, you can.
Yeah, you can always add it if it works.
Mouse eats cricket. No, this is a cricket. So I'm just gonna steal it.
You'll wanna, yeah, you wanna swap it. There you go.
I hunt the lobsters, beetles, cockroaches, crickets, spiders.
Where, are you trying to steal a Whopper card? Which card do you want to steal? Is that in a food chain for you? No? So then you could steal it.
Does it work? My turn? I ate many changes to win cards.
Hold on. That's okay, and then you can put it back. Just make it clear. Yeah. Well, let's read the description.
I'm gonna steal the cat. Wait, I can't. This is.
Well, so I have let this that the mouse does the spider. So yeah, so you got, so obviously this one. Okay. So.
You should have stole.
Chain of 5.
This is my life. And then, like, I got a hot.
Yeah, I would leave this right there. That works. Oh, yes.
You have to read it off. No, I'm just saying. Well, maybe you're gonna. This one is good. And you stop to read it off.
Grab it, so.
Oh, this person. No, I'm gonna read that out.
A jumping spider.
If you're looking for
Guys, so chain of 2 so far. So next the
what food chain is it? I'm gonna leave out there. How many chains? Salmon.
You guys are no, this is not food chain.
Stop by those flowers. This is the start of
honestly, for this one,
Is that
no, you can't add it to food chain, you just swap it. If you want to swap it, you see the only thing that works for food chain now, you still need a producer. You still need some.
Okay, I'm gonna steal
Plan.
She's stealing it.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, it's on So, you have these 2 separate chains. Oh, yeah.
Are you butterflies? Okay, even honey.
I got a clue.
No, she has
It does not. It isn't.
What the heck was that?
You want to see if this is, see if you want to add. Okay, so. So we don't have any producers. Sometimes over here, but you did pick up this. So,
Never mind. Should I go back?
Yeah, I gotta tell you.
yeah, so you did.
Wait. He's
So this so far is what you see.
No, it's my turn.
Yeah, the rabbit is not. So, use the rabbit.
Even Daddy,
Guys, we're gonna do 5 more minutes to play, and then we're gonna move on to the finale worksheet to total up the points. You have to read the description of activities.
Like mice.
Well, you could, but
If you have nothing, I can